What I've enjoyed most about my placement at Weistec is just how welcoming and supportive everyone is. With each rotation, I've had 2 great mentors who are always here to support you and help you grow.
What I've enjoyed the most about Weistec is the variety of people I've gotten to meet.
It's the support network that's created for the interns because it's been really nice to share the experience with similar-minded people.
Seeing how software is created in the real world.
The supportive environment.
Meeting new people. It's really hard to meet new people during these COVID times. So being able to see some fresh faces and learn from them was a nice change.
What I've most enjoyed about my placement at Weistec was working with industry professionals because it really gives you a sense of what life's like after university.
Be open-minded and to have a can-do attitude. Be confident in what you're capable of doing and what you know, but also be okay with not knowing everything or not knowing what to do.
You only have a short period of time here, so try and make the most of it by learning as much as you can.
My advice to someone who's starting at Weistec would be to try out different things because you will be supported by the people who work here.
Come in with a growth mindset and be willing to try new things.
Talk to as many people as you can. Not only does this really help you understand Weistec and the way it works much faster, but it's also just so much fun to get to know all these different people.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard White, the CEO and founder of Weistec Global. I've always had a real interest in technology. Even before I got into computers, I was really interested in technology generally. Early on in my career, I got some contracting jobs with logistics companies, and I realized that their systems were very poor, very disjointed, and in need of major rework. And I thought it was a problem that was large enough and complex enough that it was really worth solving. It would be very powerful to solve the problem well. I was able to take the initial problem set of international freight forwarding and customs procedures and turn that into a very valuable, highly sophisticated global business. This is a very complex area of business because you have to pass through 2 borders. And at that point, goods have to be cleared through a customs procedure. And as well as that, the logistics of the goods as they move has to be planned and optimized. And we build a system and deliver that system to our customers that is a complete solution for most of those capabilities and problems that you have to do international trade. We have customers in 130 plus countries, and we have a huge amount of the world's capabilities available to us on our platform, and we're growing it every single day. And we've become, a very, very standard system for the industry to use. I've always been very curious about how things work, and I've liked to solve problems, and I like to understand what tools you can have to solve problems, and I like to innovate and create new ideas that solve problems. And all of those things together, plus the tenacity to keep moving, to keep pushing forward, and the ability to impassion yourself and the people around you to drive value and to create something of lasting significance is a really important part of the journey to building a successful business. Well, I think technology companies and technology people have always been at the forefront of cultural change and cultural adaptation. And COVID created a catalyst. Technology companies adapted incredibly smoothly and quickly, particularly Weistec. We were thinking about going out of the workplace in March 2020, which was before anybody else was doing it in Australia. And by the middle of April, everywhere in the world that we had a business, people were working from home. And actually our productivity went up. Our people were able to continue to do their great work and be creative and innovative and powerful and deliver on time and do wonderful things with software whilst working together and yet digitally very connected but physically very remote. Well, I think first of all, technology has always been an industry that creates change and makes things better. It enables people to use their intelligence and their sophistication and their education and their abilities in ways that 20, 30, 40 years ago were unthinkable. It creates a very strong employment environment for people who want a stable and strong employment. It creates value for our communities and for our countries. Well, there's a couple of fundamentals that you have to build a clever business on. If you're going to be an innovator, you're going to be a disruptor. The whole idea about the status quo is that we're going to change it. And so you need a certain type of people that think differently, that want to work together to make a difference. And you can't get all that in one person. You have to have that in groups of people, and those groups of people need to work together to create that environment where unconventional ideas can come forward and questions can be challenging and people can disagree about things to get to the better answer. And you need a lot of things that are created when you have a diverse and inclusive workforce. That's really kind of the secret sauce. Well, remember that a technology company is still a business and it still has a lot of facets. It's not like every single person in Weistec is a software developer. That's not true at all. We have marketing people, we have sales people, we have finance people, we have legal people. There are a lot of facets that are not cutting code. I happen to think that writing software is a very significant and powerful idea, and that by itself it does create the fundamental of the company, but there are a lot of capabilities that are needed in any company to make things good. When you're dealing with a large organization, which is largely about people working together, everybody has to have the ability to either find people with soft skills or to have those soft skills. The ability to inspire people, to drive passion into the business, to create that idea where curiosity is allowed and asking difficult questions is allowable is a fundamental idea. They're the skills that people need in order to bring everybody together and actually have people create something new and different and better. Well, I think you should give it very strong consideration. At first blush, technology seems like it's tough, hard to do, but I can tell you that technology is a very cool industry with some fantastic people in it, and it's freeing of your lifestyle. It creates an environment where you can do things that you could never have thought possible. We support the movement of hundreds of millions of transactions of goods moving across borders every day of the year, and I think that's a really powerful thing. We are making a difference to society. We're making a valuable contribution to the Australian economy. We're giving a lot of our staff an important and valuable career, and we're making a difference to the world in terms of our social and economic and our environmental responsibilities.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanzeem Syeda. I'm currently a software engineer at Weistec Global. I've been here for about 2 years, and I'm also a 4th year software engineering student at the University of Technology, Sydney. As a software engineer at Weistec Global, usually I have meetings from 8 to 12 in the morning, and this includes code reviews or anyone that needs my help or input in something that they're planning. The rest of the day is for me to actually work on the work I'm doing. So that includes writing code, includes peer reviews, any kind of documents that we need to make. It's really exciting because I'm always working on solving real world problems using technology and real world logistics solutions. The thing I enjoy most about being a software engineer is just how broad it is. Often people think that because you're a software engineer, it's only about being in development, only coding, but it's actually more than that. And I really love how much I get to collaborate with other people and talk to other people about problems that we have and how we can use technology, how we can use our resources at Weistec Global to solve those problems. When I was in year 9, I was looking at what I wanted to do in the future, and as a young person it often is really challenging because we're expected to decide what degree we're going to go into, what kind of path we have from a really young age. So I was looking at my options and I had chosen IST as my elective in year 9. My teacher came up to me and she was like, "Oh, Tanzeem, have you ever heard of coding, programming?" And I had no idea what it was. I think at that moment it hit me why don't I just give it a go, because I don't really need anything. There's so much out there online. I started learning how to code in Python, and it was really satisfying to see when I typed something, I created something. The best advice I would give high school students that are looking to go into tech or have no idea what tech is to start now and just give it a go, because technology is the future of the world. A lot of things depend on this now. I feel like a lot of people give up because they feel like technology is just coding. It's so much more than that. and just you don't know what you don't know until you give it a go. Something that really helped me excel early at a young age was having the mindset that you don't need to be at a certain age to study something. When I started thinking like that, it just opened up so many opportunities for me. I knew that this is what I wanted to do in my career. I started looking at what I can do to get myself involved more in the industry. So I started applying to all these places, asking for 2 to 3 weeks of just work experience opportunities, just so I could experience what it would be like a day in the life of a software engineer would be like. After about like 200 emails I sent out, I was really fortunate to land a work experience opportunity at Google at the age of 15. It was incredible. I had no idea that would even be possible, but just the thought that I kept trying and never gave up, and meeting people that would help me get there. I'm a big believer in having mentors, because we don't have all the time in the world to keep making those mistakes over and over again. But if we start learning from other people that have been in our shoes, just as you are today, it makes the path more clearer, because you know what things might go wrong, what things might work. So I've always been really fortunate to have incredible mentors around me from when I was young in the industry. You're just putting yourself out there and you're asking for advice, and people are so happy to help you. So I've had amazing mentors from Girls Programming Network. From my mentor from Google really helped me in deciding what I want to do in my career. I'm currently in a team at Weistec Global called Software Operations. It's a very different team compared to the rest, because we focus on the whole Weistec and how we can enable the Weistec way in everything we do. That goes through what kind of tools we can use, what kind of tools we can provide developers with, what kind of behaviors makes a successful developer, how we should be more productive. The culture at Weistec is amazing. We have a mantra that we follow across the company, that anyone can talk to anyone at any time. And what that does is break down hierarchy and puts us all in one place, and allows us to think as not just everyone around us as managers, but peers that we can approach. There's amazing initiatives that we have at Weistec, like Bureau Clock, Cake Day. Initiatives like this just allows us to connect with other teams and other people from other places to give a different perspective. When I was in year 9, I was looking at what I wanted to do in the future, and as a young person, it often is really challenging, because we're expected to decide what degree we're going to go into, what kind of path we have from a really young age. So I was looking at my options, and I had chosen IST as my elective in year 9. My teacher came up to me and she was like, "Oh, Tanzeem, have you ever heard of coding, programming?" And I had no idea what it was. I think at that moment it hit me like, why don't I just give it a go? Because I don't really need anything. There's so much out there online. I started learning how to code in Python, and it was really satisfying to see when I typed something, I created something. The best advice I would give high school students that are looking to go into tech or have no idea what tech is to start now and just give it a go, because technology is the future of the world. A lot of things depend on this now. I feel like a lot of people give up because they feel like technology is just coding. It's so much more than that, and just you don't know what you don't know until you give it a go. Something that really helped me excel early at a young age was having the mindset that you don't need to be at a certain age to study something. When I started thinking like that, it just opened up so many opportunities for me. I knew that this is what I wanted to do in my career. I started looking at what I can do to get myself involved more in the industry. So I started applying to all these places, asking for 2 to 3 weeks of just work experience opportunities, just so I could experience what it would be like a day in the life of a software engineer would be like. After about 200 emails I sent out, I was really fortunate to land a work experience opportunity at Google at the age of 15. It was incredible. I had no idea that would even be possible, but just the thought that I kept trying and never gave up, and meeting people that would help me get there. I'm a big believer in having mentors, because we don't have all the time in the world to keep making those mistakes over and over again. But if we start learning from other people that have been in our shoes, just as you are today, it makes the path more clearer, because you know what things might go wrong, what things might work. So I've always been really fortunate to have incredible mentors around me from when I was young in the industry. You're just putting yourself out there and you're asking for advice, and people are so happy to help you. So I've had amazing mentors from Girls Programming Network. From my mentor from Google really helped me in deciding what I want to do in my career. I'm currently in a team at Weistec Global called Software Operations. It's a very different team compared to the rest, because we focus on the whole Weistec and how we can enable the Weistec way in everything we do. That goes through what kind of tools we can use, what kind of tools we can provide developers with, what kind of behaviors makes a successful developer, how we should be more productive. The culture at Weistec is amazing. We have a mantra that we follow across the company, that anyone can talk to anyone at any time. And what that does is break down hierarchy and puts us all in one place, and allows us to think as not just everyone around us as managers, but peers that we can approach. There's amazing initiatives that we have at Weistec, like Bureau Clock, Cake Day. Initiatives like this just allows us to connect with other teams and other people from other places to give a different perspective.
Thanks, Tanzeem and Richard, for that amazing presentation. We have a few questions here for you today. First question is for Richard. Are you surprised by how much Weistec has grown since you started the company all those years ago?
Can you hear me now? Sorry about that. I was muted. Yes, it's a great question. So I've always been, my expectations for the company has always been very high. And I've always dreamed of having the company grow and become more and more successful. But I'd have to say that the growth of Weistec and how it is now is beyond my wildest expectations. It's a $10 billion business that I started in my basement with 5 people and really my MasterCard. So it's grown to something very huge. But I think this is what dreams are made of. This is a powerful idea that you can work hard, get smart, educate yourself, push on things, be curious and be inventive. And suddenly you've got this huge opportunity before you, and look what happens.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. We have another question for you, Richard. What are the most demanding jobs in the IT field at the moment?
Well, I wouldn't say demanding. I think I like the idea of jobs that are challenging to you, that make you do something interesting and powerful. And I find that many aspects of IT is about problem solving and doing things in a different way or a better way than it's been done before. And so, like, I think you can be a user experience designer, which is much more about the craft of designing the way people experience things. That's not a software skill, that's an artistic or design skill. You can be a software engineer, you can be an architect, you can be an information systems worker. There are a lot of different things. All of them have their own challenges, and all of them have their own fun things that you do with them. But all in all, everything that you do in IT is really creative and mentally stimulating. It's one of those things that I've never been bored doing what I do, and I don't think people that have got their heart and soul into the job in IT and have a good skill in IT ever really get bored. There's always something interesting to do, always something interesting to learn, always something interesting to create. And that creative thing it fulfills a lot of people's desires to do something meaningful in the world.
Yeah. We have a question for you, Tanzeem. What's the most exciting or rewarding project you've worked on at Weistec Global?
I think the most rewarding project I've worked on at Weistec Global is a project that we've got on the Weistec Academy. So it's about designing content on how people can be better in their roles and really understanding how to understand conflicts and, you know, what drives those conflicts and those behaviors in certain roles. So that is really rewarding because it's something that anyone can access with Weistec Academy, and it just enables them to be a better person in their role and for their team.
That's really interesting. Yeah. We have another question for you, Tanzeem. Do you think working for a tech company gives you an advantage in your uni degree?
I think the biggest challenge that often university students face is that they don't know what a day is like in the working industry. So they often complete 3 or 4 years at uni and they have no idea what they're expecting in the future. So having that practical skills along with your degree is something I'm all for, because it encourages you to learn more, and you don't learn that much by just being in classroom walls. You learn more by actually doing stuff. So you can read as much as content as you want, but until you try applying that content, working with other people, that's only when you'll know how much you know. And that is the biggest advantage. So if you're someone that's in high school or uni, I would highly recommend that you go out of that way and work in your industry at a young age, just so you know what you're learning, and it's not like you've finished a 4-year degree and then you're finally ready into stepping into the workforce, because it'll be completely different. University is just to teach you that skill, and work is to apply that, and it's really important to apply for internships, all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah. We have a question here for you, Richard. What did you want to be when you were in high school, and did that change?
Yeah, there was a few different choices going through high school. I actually started my career in early high school. I wanted to be a scientist. And then as I grew and made different friends, I wanted to be a musician. And I actually ended up working as a musician for a number of years. That wasn't particularly economically beneficial, as most people understand. Most musicians live on the starvation line. So I describe myself as an economic refugee from the music industry. I still play. You can see there's a guitar sitting behind me there. There's a piano over there on the other side. And music for me is like golf for other people. But I quickly realized that music is very mathematical and very technical. And I developed technical skills from that. And I started originally doing work in the entertainment industry with technical skills, and then I started building computers and then programming them, and then the rest of it sort of became a series of learnings to how to grow a company, how to do marketing and sales, and how to do management and so forth. Eventually in a master's degree, and then running into the foundation of Weistec Global.
Wow, yeah. We have another question here for you, Richard, as well. Could you briefly go over the information system of Weistec Global? Who are the participants of Weistec Global, and how does information technology play a role in Weistec Global?
That's such a big question. I'll try to give you something meaty to answer that question, but I won't be able to describe the whole of Weistec Global. It's in 30 countries. We've got customers in 160 countries, and we've got 2,000 staff. So there's quite a lot of pieces. But let's talk about the creation of a product. Our product is called CargoWise One. We have many of the largest logistics companies in the world, including DHL, the world's #1, running our platform globally. And in order to make that platform work, you have to have different types of people that work together to create that architecture. So the architecture of the company is a people architecture. Obviously, we have computers and we have software, we have all sorts of other clever things, but the real architecture of the company is people. We have people called product managers. Those product managers understand the marketplace and the customer needs and the problems in the market, and what things are taking time and effort and what things are problematic. We have technical leads that work in the same teams as the product managers, and those technical leads are like architects. They design or help others in the team build the software, and those architectures become part of the solution the product manager needs. And we have user experience engineers who guide the structure of how it's presented to the user, and so it makes it easy to use. And then we also have delivery managers who are there to optimize the time and make the production of software and the opportunity to deliver that to the customer as efficient as possible. around the outside of that, you have financial people, you have sales people, you have marketing people, you have legal people. This is all structured in a way which is like a big machine, but a very creative machine that constantly evolves itself and grows as the company grows. And we're growing at 20 to 30% per annum. So there's always change happening. There's always adjustments. There's always learning and always improvement. But the architecture of the company is less about computers. They're obviously there because that's what we do, but it's actually more about how the people get together and work and make things really powerful. And remember that this, Weistec, an Australian company created in my basement in my house in Newtown, is the global leader in this space because of those people and the way that we architect our business.
Wow. The next question's for both of you guys. I'll let Richard go first. Do you have any role models in the business or world, tech world that you look up to?
Well, I personally would prefer to have multiple observations of multiple things. I think there are many people in technology that are worth looking up to. People know about Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and Larry Ellison and many others. But each of them, they're all humans. They all have their good things and they all have things that they don't do as well. And I would like to think that we learn from each person that we observe, including the people that we work with, and you take away great ideas. I mean, Brett, my CTO, is a fantastic architect and he's amazingly intelligent. Charles Gibbon, one of my directors that helped me grow the company from the mid part of the company, is incredibly philosophical about how things work and is very helpful. And Marie Isaacs, who's my co-founder, has helped me in many different ways. I mean, it's better to look at the different attributes of people rather than have a single role model, in my view.
And for Tanzeem, which role model do you look up to?
I think I agree with Richard on this one. I think it's not the idea about having a role model that you look up to and follow their steps. It's more about who do you have around you that can help you be a better person and be where you want to be tomorrow. And it's about observing not the really successful, really famous people, but the people around you that drive that passion, that want you to be better, and that that make you tick. So I don't have anyone that I look up to. It's a lot of my inspiration comes from my teammates here at Weistec Global, a lot of leaders at university, and constantly meeting people and talking to them. I think that's where my passion grows. And as long as you have people that you can constantly look at and talk to, that's what's going to help you get where you want to be. Not looking up to people that have, you have no connection with.
Yeah, okay. I think we have time for one final question, and I think this one's going to go to Tanzeem. How many and which companies have you worked with?
I did my first internship at Google when I was 15 years old, and then I worked at a startup through year 11 and 12. And after that, I became the youngest person to work at Apple at the age of 17. And after Apple, I worked at Cuscal, which is a financial payments company here in Australia. And then I worked at ASX for a couple of months. And then I've been at Weistec Global for 2 years. So about 8 companies.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for your presentation, Richard and Tanzeem. Thanks for all the questions again. It's incredible to see how many people are interested in Richard and Tanzeem's presentation.